Hello, my friends. Greetings from the beautiful mountains of Santa Barbara. See the Pacific Ocean right here. Absolutely gorgeous, super clear day. You can see all the way out to the Channel Islands right now. I absolutely love this spot. Been doing a lot of sun gazing. You can see the sun come up perfectly right here over these mountains and then set literally directly behind me. Winter is just the best opportunity for sun gazing because the sun isn't as intense. It's filtered through more atmosphere, and so you can get a very direct, clear, open stare at the sun for a longer time. In winter, we're getting less sunlight in general. The more we're getting that chief vibrational frequency into our system, the more in tune with nature and with our surroundings and with the cosmos. Last week, I released a video on the topic of meaning, what the point and meaning of life is. I broke this down into two lenses. The first was absolute meaning, the meaning of existence that applies to everything from the trees to the rocks to the air to every soul on this planet, including you and I. Absolute meaning is the process of waking up to the nature of consciousness within, waking up to the true essence of your being, what you are in the deepest sense, the experience of spiritual awakening, enlightenment, samadhi, atonement, nirvana. And underneath everything that happens in our life, that is the ground meaning of all of it. That's why it's so important to pursue spirituality in your life, is to ultimately be expanding consciousness and be approaching this state of oneness with all that is. I also spoke about relative meaning, which is the meaning to you in your life that honors your soul's calling. What spirit, the energy and information of reality is trying to live through you. That is your personal myth, honoring your innate archetypes and honoring what you're here really to do and the fullest expression of your gifts. Now, both of those two things are deeply, deeply important, but I forgot a component. I really forgot two components that came to me after releasing this video. I want to add some context as to what those are to broaden your perspective of meaning, the point of life, and what we're all here really to do. So I'll start with healing with a capital H. We are all here to heal. We all come into this lifetime with innate trauma, the trauma of existing in a finite form. It's the trauma of separation from the divine. It's the trauma of existing in the heaviness of a human body, existing in the heaviness of the intergenerational trauma that we all live in. Doesn't matter what culture you're in or what your ethnicity is, we all exist in some degree of trauma coming from the collective. We all are born into Earth in a time that's in a lot of pain. And we all have challenges, or better yet, growth opportunities, things that our soul is here to overcome, challenges we're here to face, wounds we're here to receive, illnesses we're here to experience and grow through and expand and learn to love and be ourselves more fully through. In the beautiful esoteric channeled text, The Law of One, which I highly recommend everyone check out, this higher dimensional being is giving a sermon, really, or a teaching to the humans that are channeling it. And he says we all come into life with essentially soul contracts, challenges we're here to face, trauma we're here to experience. He calls these catalysts because they catalyze the spiritual process of growth and evolution in higher consciousness. This is why I say life isn't about happiness, because we really truly come here to get kicked in the nuts and to get beat down by life and to experience pain. The challenge is not to create a cushy lifestyle that supports our ego that is free of these challenges, but really to embrace the challenges in the life process fully and go fully into things and leverage the challenges and crises we face in life for growth and evolution into higher consciousness, and to transmute the pain and bondage we feel in life into love and freedom, and to give that to all of the people we interact with day to day. So part of the absolute meaning of life is to heal. It's to heal from the life circumstances we're born into, the cultural milieu, the conditioning, the programming we're born into. It's to heal from the limitations we feel, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And usually these are all intertwined. Physical illnesses bring on emotional challenges. bring on spiritual challenges. And so we are all here to heal, to grow, and to evolve. As long as our species is healing, our brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity is healing, as long as the earth is still healing, we still have healing to do. So we never escape this. We're here from the moment we're born to the moment we die to be in a continual process of healing. And that is one of the deepest meanings of life that we're all here to embrace. And so the second insight that I had was into the nature of relative meaning. And that insight was that meaning is context dependent. Really, this is collective meaning. It is meaning that applies to the time you exist in now and the state and stage and conditions that humanity is finding itself in. And I like to bring up an example of World War II. For all the men that were alive in this country during the time of World War II, they had a collective and shared meaning together after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, which is that we've been attacked and we must defend ourselves. Now, there's tons of limitations and unconscious aspects of how the men were in those times. So I'm not saying it's an example. I just bring it up to point out that there is a component of cultural, societal, context-specific collective meaning that exists at any time that you're born in. We all incarnate on Earth at a specific time in a specific place for a specific reason. There are lessons that we're here to learn. There is a contribution we're here to make. There's a participation we are supposed to engage in that's specific to the time and the task at hand for the situation we find ourselves in. So the question is, what is that collective meaning? What is that collective task that the men on this earth at this time right now are being called upon? And when I think of that, I look at the state that humanity is in. I look at the war. I look at the corruption. I look at the poverty. I look at the addiction. I look at the state of people's bodies, the way they're getting soft and flabby or skinny and emaciated. Their posture is degrading. The quality of their vision, the vitality in their eyes is degrading. The quality of their tissues are degrading. People are generally degrading. And when we look at the earth, we see ecosystems are degrading. We see insect populations down globally by about 80%. We see microplastics starting to basically fill up all human tissues. We are swimming in a sea of dysfunction, in a sea of filth and toxicity from our own unconscious behavior over the last 100 years. When I look at the earth, I see a dying planet, and I see a species that has become a cancer upon the land. And I see a species that is deeply spiritually sick and deeply physically sick. So the calling or the task or the collective meaning is quite obvious. It's to right this wrong. It's to support healing of the land, of people, of communities. It's to create truth in a world of falsehood. It's to allow society to expand out of this juvenile stage and into a more conscious, more evolved, more loving, more aware stage and chapter in humanity. And we are at the final hour. A group of scientists around the world have put the doomsday clock at 89 seconds to midnight, meaning we're on a razor's edge. We're at the very end of this whole thing. If we don't correct course soon, it's potentially the end of the story or the end of a large portion of who we are and what we do. That may be a good thing, that may be a bad thing, I don't know. But either way, a change and a shift has to occur. There's no way around it. We must grow through this stage. This has been something on my mind for a long time, is how can I contribute to being a positive force in all of this? I look around at people and I see people are generally defeated, disassociated from the problem, essentially engaging in an adaptive strategy to just tune it out and focus on their own life. And that's not a judgment, it's just an observation. This is what humans do when they face trauma. And right now we're in massive collective trauma. And if you know anything about trauma theory, trauma leads to disassociation. It's to escape from the intensity of what's taking place. Now, that disassociation supports us in the short term, but long term, it becomes a destructive pattern. And our soul is really called into facing the pain and engaging the intensity that we feel inside. And to me, that is what the earth is calling all men to do right now, is to face this challenge fully and to take responsibility for the fact that this is our planet. If you're a man alive today, this is your planet. I acknowledge that the challenges are massive and systemic. We all feel essentially powerless, like we can't really make a difference. But it doesn't really matter, because a conscious man, a man with a warrior spirit, will do the right thing, no matter how big the challenge. It's like my football coach in high school. He said, we were going up against the #1 team in the nation, and we were a really good team, but this was the #1 team in the nation. And he said, you play to win the game. Like, we're not playing this game to lose by a little or just do a good job. We play to win, period. Doesn't matter who we go up against. And that's the same energy that the earth is calling men, and I'm inviting men to embrace, which is that, yes, this is an immense challenge, but it's also an immense opportunity. It's like a superhero, like the Batman movies or Indiana Jones, they're James Bond. They're not going up against small challenges. They're taking on monumental challenges that they have to really dig deep to overcome. What an amazing opportunity. I don't think men have ever had a more beautiful and profound opportunity. We're not saving a culture and a society. We are saving the species. We are saving the planet. We are establishing a future for every generation of humans and other species that will come to exist in love and harmony on this planet. If that doesn't get you inspired, I don't know what will. You can become a real life superhero in your lifetime. One day, the children of this planet, when we are old men, will ask us what we did when we knew the planet was in danger. And we'll have one of two responses. There was nothing I could do. I just ignored it and focused on my life. Or we can say, I did everything I could in my power. I used my mind, I used my heart, I used my will to organize my energy, my resources, and harnessed my creativity to affect change at whatever level I could. And can you think about a more meaningful existence? What's more meaningful for a man than to devote your life to a higher cause? You see, the problem that men are facing to such a degree with this depression, with the addiction, with the lethargy, is we're disconnected from a collective fight. And I don't mean a violent fight, obviously, but men, like, we need a mission, a task. We need a bridge to build. We need new land to thrust ourselves into, to expand. We need something to defend, to serve. And we live in a culture that has lost its myth. I don't mean a myth like a lie, like, oh, that's just a myth. I mean myth in a more technical sense, which is a story and a shared meaning in a culture. You can look at, for example, Native American populations, and they had a myth, a guiding principle as to why they existed, and it created a structure for their place in the universe, and it gave them collective meaning that they all shared. And this provides tremendous psychological support and value. And for a time, our culture was in the myth of capitalism, consumerism, democracy, and freedom. 1950s to now, we were in that collective myth, that collective story. And it served us to a degree, but it no longer has. We've seen its limitations. And right now we're in a mythic transition. That's why there's so much turmoil, is the species is recalibrating what is our story, what is our way. And it's highly polarized and highly unconscious. There are people that are trying to maintain the old myth. There are people that are trying to bring a new myth, but this myth is in reaction to the wrongs of the old myth, which is what we see on the left. And so that they're living and expressing and acting from trauma, which is not a solution. So now is a time for men to band together and to construct a new myth that we live under. And if the planet is to survive and we are to achieve peace and harmony together and with nature, This myth must be grounded in love, healing, higher consciousness, and freedom. Freedom to be ourself and to express our innate gifts and to allow others to have the freedom to express their innate gifts. That is the task that the earth is calling all men upon today, right now. And so the question really is, will you answer this call? Or will you hide out, make excuses as to why it's too complicated, as to why you can't have a difference, why the limitations or factors in your life prevent you from having an impact and walking this path? Or will you say, the time is now, this is a beautiful opportunity, and I will answer the call. And I'll take baby steps, leaning into my edge along the way, slowly expanding, taking on more and more responsibility, expanding my circle of concern, and stepping into this role fully. Choice is yours. Carl Jung says, no man is fully alive until he has the power to destroy himself. Collectively, we certainly have the power to destroy ourselves. We are right there. We have the power to destroy ourselves 1,000 times over. What that means is we should all be fully alive, fully inspired, fully filled with spirit, filled with energy and information, and ready to explode out into the world and work for this healing endeavor. And with that in mind, I want to dive into the practicalities of what this means. So we talked about last time having absolute meaning in your life. That means pursuing spirituality, in pursuing the expansion of consciousness and the realization of the nature of your own soul. You can do that in whatever way you want. You can stick around for this channel because I'll be sharing a lot of different tools, techniques. You can find me on Instagram. You can join my school community where we're really diving deep on that process. And also to pursue a meaning that is specific and relative to you and personally meaningful, that honors your unique gifts. You may be uniquely artistic, uniquely geared for engineering, uniquely geared for social media, for public speaking. You may be uniquely geared for therapy or more intimate work with people. You may be more geared towards a CEO or someone who really goes out and creates and solves complex problems. Whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. But what does matter is that you're doing something you love, that you're doing something that honors your unique gifts, and you're tying all of this expression and all of this love and all of this gift giving to the ultimate way and purpose of helping the planet find healing, helping humanity evolve, and helping our species grow in its consciousness. You can do this as a school teacher. You can do this as an engineer. You can do this as anything. But don't just be pursuing life for your own ends. Don't just be pursuing life for money, for sex, for power, for fame, or for comfort, or for recreation, or for making memories. That's something I hear so often is people talking about the meaning of life is just to have fun and enjoy life. I think that's amazing. You should definitely do that. But to tie all of that into supporting the process that humanity is in, that's what we need. And if your life purpose and your vision and your expression is not geared towards something big, grand, powerful, and bold like this, ultimately you end up flat. You end up lifeless. You end up serving something less than your full potential. And my intention is to inspire all of us to live at the fullness of our being, the fullness of our potential. Jung said once, we all walk in shoes too small. And what he meant by that was, so many people are not living up to the fullness of their potential. We choose the life of comfort over the life of challenge and meaning. At the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter what difference we make in all of this. What matters is that we answered the call and we gave our all. Like, I don't know if we can fix the whole thing. I believe we can. Certainly we can. I don't know if we will with the rate that humanity is going at. But for me, it doesn't matter. I'm here to do this, and I'm here to leave it all on the field, so to speak. And I'm here to die in the process. I want to leave this planet with no fucking energy left. I gave it every single thing I could, and that way I can die happy for my own self. So commit yourself to a higher path of healing and supporting humanity. Give your gifts fully. Ground your life in love, contribution, and pursuing the ultimate goal of full self spiritual realization, if you do that, you're completely set up for a powerful, meaningful life. And let go of ins and outs of the actual change you make. It doesn't matter. You can affect change at any level. Teacher inspiring the youth to be healthy, to be them fullest self. As an engineer, inspiring sustainable, earth-centric engineering, creating systems for people to heal, to people to be together, people to be close to the land, close to the earth. The only limit is our own creativity and our own determination to affect change. The last component that I want to speak to here is really just to emphasize the specialness of this moment that we find ourselves in. This is the most profound opportunity that I can imagine. What could be more sacred and more special than a group of men coming together to create a culture of love, healing, higher consciousness, evolved understanding of the world and systems, integrated in mind and body, healthy on all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, giving love fully, supporting each other and working together to fight and protect what we love the most. We can look at the world and have a negative, pessimistic view and say, man, this is just all so fucked. Or we can say, wow, what a fucking time to be alive. What a perfect environment for me to affect change. How beautiful is the meaning of my existence. It's such a sacred and special opportunity. If this is inspiring to you guys, I want to encourage you to stick around. Check out my other content on Instagram. I'm really responsive there. You can send me DMs, you can talk to me. I also offer a free call if you want to jump right into this and begin this process, help lots of guys out for free. It's literally free coaching call to initiate the process. I'm also going to be launching a school community here that's going to be at a very, very affordable rate to allow everyone to basically get started. Of course, I am going to insist on people paying a little bit because if it's free, then people don't show up and no one cares. And then it all goes to waste. But it's going to be affordable for literally everyone, even if you're struggling as a college student. And finally, yeah, I'm going to be launching a new program here that is geared towards this whole process. Waking up, expanding our consciousness, cleaning up, getting healthy and integrated, embodied at every level, growing up, becoming mature and evolved men that are capable of making change, and showing up for all aspects of our being, our internal life, our physical body, the collective society we live in, and the collective culture we live in, as well as having a life purpose and a deeply emotionally rich, meaningful mission that you're serving in life, a legacy, a dream that you're showing up to live, pursuing that fully as a conscious co-creator with the entire universe, living in the flow of life, living with the evolutionary pulse that's moving through all of us. I'll also be launching a podcast here pretty soon. Podcast is just going to be me riffing for long periods of time, mostly solo casts, trying to spew out as much information as is backed up and bottled inside me after this 10-year journey of study. And in that too, we're going to be doing transformational retreats. The first one's going to be, I believe, in June. We're still finalizing dates. That's going to be in Guatemala with the bioculture team down there. That's with Christian Van Camp and Dakota Mays. It's going to be absolutely epic. The retreats are amazing because they kick you into this process and they just blast you into momentum. It's like a plant medicine journey. And then all of the infrastructure and content I'm going to be releasing on the side supports the continuation of that process. So if this stuff excites you and you feel inspired, connect with me on the gram, jump on a free call, or just stay tuned for what's to come. With that being said, my friends, let's seize this opportunity. Every day is a new day to reinvent ourselves, to bring love and healing and higher consciousness to this land, to live a meaningful life, to be ourselves fully, to experience freedom, and to lead the other humans into this. So special. We're so blessed. I feel so inspired sharing this. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in, supporting my work. If you find this meaningful, you know someone in your life that's struggling with meaning, looking for a deeper purpose, looking to get healthy, all the things we talk about here, share this video with them. It's the easiest way of initiating this movement, right? The more of us doing this together, the easier it is to become that living example for all of us. That's one of the main reasons I have done this. It's been so hard for me to walk this path on my own. And I want a brotherhood of support and community to do this together. Like, subscribe, that does help me out. So do that if you want. Share it with someone you know, give the love. Stay tuned for more. Much love.